Hello, everyone. This is Don Self. Today, we're going to have a mini webinar about how I perform analysis for practices all over the country. Usually between 4 to 5 times a week, I will schedule an hour to an hour and a half with a practice, generally primary care, but I do it with most specialties. And we will pull up their data to find out exactly what they're doing in their practice and what their historical Medicare billing data is showing. I'll ask the doctor some questions. I'll ask the office manager some questions. And at the end of the call, I'm going to ask a simple question. Did this call just help you increase your income by at least $20,000 a year? If you say yes, great. You can drop me a check for $500 in the mail. If you say no, you don't owe me a penny. That's just the way I work. It's real simple. I've been doing this for 30 years. Now, what do? Let's say I pull up this data right here that I'm showing you here on the screen. And in that data right there, I go ahead and just do a search and I pull up all the family physicians in Omaha, Nebraska. Well, are there a few of them? Yeah, there's a bunch of them. In fact, there's 220 family physicians in Omaha, Nebraska that billed Medicare Part B in 2015. That's the most recent year data. And it shows me not only how many units they billed out of any of the codes, but how many patients they have. Like, for instance, this doctor right here, Daniel Pearson. He has 263 Medicare Part B patients. Scroll down here to this doctor here, John Franklin, and he had 294 Medicare patients. Now, he billed out at $135,717 to Medicare. Medicare allowed $55,000 and paid him $40,000. Wow. His average age was Medicare patient, 70 years old. He has mostly female Medicare patients, about 174, 120 of them were males. Tells me a little bit more about his practice. Only 59 of his Medicare Part B patients had Medicare Medicaid in 2015. The majority had just Medicare only, or they might have had a supplement. It tells me what diagnoses that he's seeing. 8% of his Medicare patients had Alzheimer's, 14% had asthma, 19% had CHF, 25% CKD, depression was 26%, hypertension was 58%, etc. So I go over and take a look at, let's say, who is it? John Franklin. And I've just pulled him at random right here. Let's go down here and see what billing John did. Well, he billed out for office visits. He didn't bill out for any removal of impacted serum and no destruction of lesions, no joint injections, trigger point injections to Medicare. He billed out for EKGs. He billed out for office visits. He's undercoding according to the national average. You say, how do you know that? Well, simple. I've looked at these numbers right here for the national average, and I can sit there and tell you what it is for any particular specialty because I've run the numbers, and I can tell you what percentages are at which level. For instance, 48% of the visits during that same time frame by family physicians were billed at level 4. He used level 3 more often than level 4. Probably, I would say 60% was level 3. So that tells me he's probably undercoding. Now, I don't know how his documentation looks, so if there's documentation only supports a level 3, that's very possible. What else do I see on this fellow right here? I see that he didn't bill out for signing any home health certs or lease certs. I see that he did not bill out any Medicare annual wellness visits on those 294 Medicare patients. Well, are we talking about a lot of money on Medicare annual wellness visits? Yeah, a whole lot of money. If you have 294 Medicare Medicare patients, let's see if he would have done Medicare annual wellness visits on every one of those, just pulling him at random, 294. That means he should have been doing about 1.1 a day. And if he was doing 1.1 Medicare annual wellness visits a day, having his nurse do it, by the way, there's another $84,000 that year that he would have gotten. Well, what else did he not do? Pulling on John Franklin right here, just picking at him at random. Every one of his initial hospital visits was level 3. That kind of flags an audit with Medicare, but yet every one of his hospital discharges were the lowest level. He didn't bill out any critical care charges, didn't bill out any spirometry. There's a lot of things he didn't bill. And by the way, I have this on any doctor in the country. You sit there and say, well, do you have this on doctors in, let me see, Miami, Florida. Miami, Florida. But you're wanting it on an internal medicine. Good, we'll pull up internal. Okay, here's all the internal medicine doctors in Miami, Florida, and I can tell you how they build out. Now, this guy right here is obviously a hospitalist. Well, maybe not, because he had some office visits. So somebody's doing some messing up, screwing up on his billing right there. Can I pull it up by a particular doctor? Sure. You give me a doctor, let's say a doctor, I don't know, I'm going to make up a name. My Sunday school teacher's last name is Cooper. Let's see if there is a Dr. Cooper in Oklahoma. Well, there's a bunch of them. There's Emily. She's a family physician. There's an optometrist, etc. So I can pull it up on any doctor in the country. And by pulling up this data, I can find out what they're doing, what they're not doing, and almost always show them an extra $20, $40, $60, $80,000 a year that they're missing out on. Like, for instance, Emily Cooper up there in Oklahoma. Wow. She billed out only 13 annual wellness visits on Medicare patients, but she didn't bill out any depression screening, any alcohol misuse screening. She didn't bill out any end-of-life decisions. There's a lot of things she didn't bill out. So she's missing out on a lot of money. She didn't even bill out any EKGs. Again, family physician not doing EKGs, that's kind of odd in my opinion, but hey, maybe that's just the way she's comfortable. I don't know. But we can pull this up on any doctor in the country. So if you ever want me to, schedule a time, we'll pull up the information. I want your doctor on the call because I'm going to ask your doctor specific questions. I'm going to ask your doctor, like this doctor right here, filled up 45 charges of code 17,000. Who is this? Martin Cooper in Benta, Oklahoma. Martin, by the way, did not bill out any code 17,003. That means that he is not telling the staff how many lesions that he is removing whenever he is destroying lesions on the patients. So this practice is losing money there. What else is it? With Martin Cooper right here, I see, again, no annual wellness visits. That's a huge amount of money. I mean, you look at annual wellness visits, and you're talking about a whole lot of money on these things. So we really should be looking at that. What else? He's not billing out any spirometries, no ABIs. ABIs are extremely profitable if a practice is doing them. I don't know why a family practice would not be doing it. Let's go over and take a look at ABIs, for instance. An ABI you're going to do on patients with diabetes, hypertension, smokers, etc. Most common diagnoses are going to be the list right here, full long list. Let's say a practice is only doing, say, 2 a day. 2 a day on a piece of equipment that costs less than $8 grand, still going to give you $4,500 a month net profit after paying for the equipment, or $54,000 a year. And you're going to catch these problems before you have to go amputating toes, feet, etc., legs from patients. It's good medical care. That's why Medicare said, even on the PQRS, back when we had PQRS, they expected you to be doing these right here once a year on the patients with diabetes with circulatory problems. And you look at this, 1 out of every 3 patients with diabetes in this country, over 50, likely have PAD according to the National Institute of Health. And 1 out of every 3 people with heart disease definitely have it, again, according to the National Institute of Health. There's all kinds of ways we can identify that practices are not making money. Let's go back over here to Martin Cooper, family physician that saw hundreds of Medicare patients, at least 430 individual Medicare patients that year, did not bill for 1 removal of impacted cerumen. Wow. And yet Martin probably has no idea that he's missing out, I would say, based on what I'm seeing right here, about $130,000 a year. How much is your practice missing? I don't know. I'm here to try to help you, though, if you'll let me. And again, with my guarantee, you only pay me after the end of the call. If you believe I was worth it, how can you lose? I've been doing this for 30 years, and I guarantee you 90% of primary care physicians, family, internal medicine, geriatric practices, they're doing the same thing. They're missing the same money. And there's a lot of money out there. Let me help you when I can. I really want to. But I can't help you if you don't call me.